Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most anticipated cars of 2024, the all-new Dodge Charger Daytona EV. Dodge has taken the iconic Charger muscle car and electrified it. Let's see how the Daytona EV holds up. As the debut model of the new Charger lineup, Dodge's first EV puts a new age spin on an old-school formula. Do muscle cars atrophy when electrified? Not according to the 2024 Charger Daytona, Dodge's first EV and the two-door headliner of a new Charger lineup that replaces both the long-standing outgoing sedan and the Challenger coupe. Mopar traditionalists may scoff at it, an unholy pretender lacking fire and brimstone under its hood. Yet as Dodge navigates the sticky tendrils of its storied past, embracing the Electron is apparently the way forward, whether the world is ready for it or not. To cover its bases, Dodge will add four-door Charger variants for 2025, as well as gas-burning six-pack models with turbo inline-six power. Not exactly the stuff of legend, but will entertain the brand's optimism, if for no other reason than this modern car's handsome interpretation of the iconic 1968 Charger's design. Them Duke boys would not only be proud, but they'd revel in the dual-motor Scat Pack model's combined 670 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque, which is electronically tamed to 496 horses and 404 pound-feet in base R/T trim. Unless you engage the Scat Pack's full power drive mode, the last 40 horses in each model are released for only 10 seconds at a time by pressing the power shot button on the steering wheel. Going big. Riding on Stellantis' stout SDLA large platform, the new Charger is a big car. Its 121.0-inch wheelbase stretches an inch longer than the outgoing Chargers and nearly 5 inches longer than the Challengers, with grander exterior dimensions across the board. At more than 17 feet long, there's enough sheet metal to make even the Scat Pack's chunky 20-inch wheels and tires, all-season or summer rubber, sized up to 305/35 ZR, 20 in front, 325/35 ZR, 20 out back, look small. R/TS comes standard with narrower 18-inch wheels, but 20s are optional. The Charger size also affords it the most spacious aft quarters we've experienced in a recent two-door. There's 4.1 inches more rear legroom than in the Challenger, but 2.9 inches less than in the outgoing Charger. Under its sleek rear hatch, there's some 23 cubic feet of cargo space, with 37 cubes available if you fold down the rear seatbacks. A small frunk is optional. Unsurprisingly, the 400-volt, 93.9 kilowatt-hour battery beneath the floorboards contributes to bloated curb weights approaching 3 tons. Dodge quotes a 24-minute recharge time from 20 to 80% on a 350 kilowatts DC fast charger, plus range estimates of 241 miles for the Scat Pack and 308 miles for the R/T. That's not a lot if you're stepping up from a previous Charger Scat Pack, a 2019 example of which averaged 25 miles per gallon in our 75 miles per hour highway test, which equates to 460 miles of range. Yet those estimates do top the 221-mile rating for what is oddly the Daytona's closet analog, the 641-horsepower Hyundai Ioniq 5N. That much lighter Hyundai will humble even the Scat Pack in a drag race. But with up to 335 horses going to each axle, the all-wheel drive Daytona still bolts away from stoplights in an occasional haze of front tire smoke. We estimate the Scat Pack should run with Charger and Challenger Hellcats, hitting 60 miles per hour in the mid-3-second range and covering the quarter mile in the high 11s. The R/T should do closer to 5 seconds to 60 miles per hour and post high 12s in the quarter mile. Strong brakes are underfoot when you clear the timing lights, particularly in the Scat Pack with its 16.1-inch rotors at each corner and 6-piston Brembo front calipers. Conventional floating calipers are standard at the rear. What's more, all 2024 models include the $3,495 track package for free. This adds 4-pot Brembo rear calipers and the largest wheel and tire setup, plus adaptive dampers, a sport-tuned suspension, an onboard video and data recorder, a black deckled spoiler, and vinyl and micro-suede trimmed sport seats. Come next year, though, you'll have to pay for that bundle. Ready to rumble. The real buzz surrounding the Daytona's gestation has been the tuning of its Fratzonic chambered exhaust, a 600-watt noisemaker that's essentially an exterior audio system beneath the rear bumper. Sounds are also played through the cabin stereo speakers. Though suitably loud and proud when you want it to be, such fakery might not be everyone's thing. You see, rather than electronically mimicking a Hemi in the vein of the Ioniq 5's impression of a turbo four-cylinder and dual-clutch transmission, the Daytona soundtrack is merely inspired by AV8. The system's startup and shutdown theatrics are dramatic, like a power plant coming online and winding down. And it does emit AV8 like burble at idle, which is overlaid with a pulsing effect that reminds us of KATT from Knight Rider. Underway and with no simulated gear changes, the noise grows into a futuristic whir mixed with a throaty growl that responds to accelerator inputs, power shot activation, and regen deceleration. There are 3 settings, including one-pedal operation, controlled via steering wheel paddles. The effects are also tied to the car's drive mode selector on the steering wheel. Auto, Eco, and Wet/Snow modes generally keep the racket to a minimum for serene cruising. Sport is enjoyably louder, yet can be droning on the highway, and the Scat Pack's track, drag, and rear-wheel drive drift settings crank the volume up to 11. When stationary, you can even rev the Daytona for bystanders. Others will find relief in the near-silent stealth mode for sneaking out of driveways or simply commuting in peace. But we hardly bothered with that one because making a ruckus, even a contrived one, is part of a muscle car's charm. Deactivate the Daytona's slip-angle nannies and toss it sideways in drift mode, and its limited slip rear differential and relatively balanced weight distribution make it trickier to gather up than its nose-heavy predecessors. Yet that neutral attitude, combined with a lower center of gravity and decent body control, does result in better handling with noticeably less understeer. While the Daytona feels hulkingly large on a racetrack, it responds to inputs on twisty back roads with the agility of a much lighter vehicle. The action of its squared-off steering wheel is pleasantly direct, if remote and short on feel. And the Scat Pack's ride on its optional adaptive dampers felt surprisingly compliant on the well-maintained roads around Phoenix. The R/T's passive setup also was good, but clomped more over harsher urban pavement. All aboard. You sit tall in the Charger's supportive front seats, with good visibility all around. An available fixed glass roof and bold ambient lighting on the doors and dash brighten the simple yet attractive workspace. We dig the pistol grip shift lever, the retention of some physical buttons and knobs, and the dearth of piano black trim. Also welcome is the intuitive Uconnect 5 infotainment system in the 12.3-inch center touchscreen. The digital gauge clusters, 10.3 inches in the R/T, upgradable to the Scat Pack's 16.0-incher, are easy to scan and configure, and an optional head-up display brings additional information. The finish of the interior's textured forms sync with the R/T's $61,590 entry point, but are less satisfying at the Scat Pack's $78,680 initial ask, which for 2024 is higher than it otherwise would be due to the mandatory inclusion of the $4,995 plus group, extra LED lighting, upgraded seats, a 360-degree camera system, and more. Another asterisk relates to the Daytona's standard direct connection power upgrades, 40 horsepower stage 1 for R/T models, 80 horsepower stage 2 on Scat Packs, which are factored into each model's current maximum output. Dodge previously said these would cost extra in 2025, but now they'll be included, just as on 2024 models. That won't matter to Mopar traditionalists waiting for the upcoming six-pack trims, or saving up for Dodge's last remaining V8 hot rod, the 2025 Durango SRT Hellcat. But the Daytona's undeniable swagger does have the potential to draw in new customers who are less tethered to the old way of doing things. They'll ultimately determine if the time is right for an electric muscle car. That's it for today's review. What do you think of the new Charger Daytona EV? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you haven't already, don't forget to like and subscribe for more reviews like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.